You are now listening to the Pelicans Postgame Report, Flash Report.
Shout out to the fam, man. Appreciate y'all being in this episode of the Pelican Postgame Report, Flash Report. I'm Big Q. For all things Pelicans, we representing the flocking nation. So hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. By all means, feel free to share the show on your social media feed. We up in this thing. I got my co-host DC in the building as well. He's in transit, so we're going to hear a little noise there, but never mind that. We're going to talk about a few things before we go. This is just a quick flash report to talk about some of the stuff that we're covering. And DC, are you there, man, to kind of go over this with us about DC sent me this from Erin Summers. It's pretty much a breakdown of Erin with a shot of the Pelicans basically shooting around in the Smoothie King Center. And it says,
what are you?
They're
not on airline?
No, they're not on airline. They're in the Smoothie King Center. And Erin says, hell shoot around at the SKC this morning ahead of their playing versus Sacramento. First time they've held a shoot around in the Smoothie King Center all season. First time.
You bullshit. You bullshit.
Don't.
You got to be bullshit.
According to Erin Summers, she's saying that that's the case. Now, DC, when you sent me this, I was like, what the you know what? It's incredibly so simple. Like, I can't believe, not saying Erin's misreporting. I mean, it's the truth, but
maybe Erin could possibly, you don't think maybe she could be wrong? Maybe.
Well, she's followed the team all season long, and she says it's the first time they've done it. So I'm a ride with her on it. I'm a ride with Erin on this one. This to me is an interesting development. DC could explain a lot. Why are the Pelicans so terrible, man?
Well, Q, I got another question.
All right.
Well, I got a question. Where do they have shoot-arounds at on the road? Do they have shoot-arounds in the arena that they're playing on the road, or is it? I don't know. I'm asking. Do you have some information on that? Because I think if we could figure that out, then that might
I mean, I
got a theory here.
I could be wrong here, but I think most of the shoot-arounds that the Pelicans do when they're on the road are in the building in the arena when they play. So, I mean, I could be wrong here. There could be a few examples where they set up a situation where they have the access to the rivals team practice facility. But in most cases, in my knowledge, is usually, they'll have a situation where they'll have a shoot-around in the building where they're going to be playing. So that's my take. Now, if you guys in the comment section, y'all let me know what you think about DC's question as well. But DC, go ahead and what's your theory, bro?
Well, my theory would be, since we're 28 and 14 on the road and we have shoot-arounds in the other teams, stadiums where we play that night, is it possible that maybe if we make it past the Sacramento Kings, we can continue to have shoot-arounds for our home games in our arena where we actually played the game at? Like, I think that might bode well for guys, maybe shooting a higher percentage, because we've been sucking at home and we ain't been having shoot-arounds here. Man, I'd have been one of the first things I would have thought to try to change, but I don't know. Maybe are they working on the facility or something? Or would that make the light bill too high?
I
don't know. Are they having concerts on those days? Maybe it's some scheduling issues why they couldn't. I don't know what the issue is. If it's something that's understandable. It's like, okay, well, they're doing this on those days and they can't, and it's like, okay, but still don't like it, man. But if they're just opting out of that, like, I don't understand why you wouldn't want to do that. I know most players like to go through a game scenario, maybe in their head, kind of reminiscent of what we saw with Drew Brees. And you hear LeBron talk about things like this, guys kind of visualizing the game. You hear Kobe talking about that, sleeping in the actual arena. Not saying guys need to go that far, but the more comfortableness you have there, it just bodes, I think, a lot better for your success, potentially. So for them to be the first shoot-around in the season, man, it's extremely head-scratching, man. Like, it'd be different if we were blowing the doors off of people at home, but we sucked at home all year, and we never thought to have a shoot around there. But maybe we reading too much into it. It was an early morning shoot around, so maybe that's what she meant. This is the first time this year they had an early morning shoot around. Could that possibly be it, Big Q? That sounds a little bit better, right? That sounds somewhat better.
Well, let me read it again. The first time they've had a shoot around here all season. So that's pretty clear. That's not real. Yeah, that is very glaringly clear. But you make an interesting point, DC, about Pelicans home rules to Smoothie King familiarity. Shooting around in the building. Now, don't get me wrong. You might have concerts and other things that might have prevented them from getting down there. But DC, at the end of the day, the Pelicans, if they really wanted to go down there, they could have made more of an emphasis to get down there. All those days weren't booked, but they can get down there and kind of get familiar shooting in the building where they're going to be playing. Now, shooting that in the practice facility is one thing, but, you know, having a familiarity with your home building, your home court, is obviously something that the Pelicans need to have, need to do. So this was very interesting that this wasn't something that was done all season long, despite the fact that we started seeing a lot of this started to happen, especially after the All-Star break when the floor really fell out at the back end of the season. The Pelicans 6 straight losing games in the building. Something dramatically is wrong when the Pelicans come home, and for Willie Nim to finally see this and switch it up, this was amazing to me that this wasn't a thing more. Very interesting. So what's your last take before we bounce out, brother? We're not going to be in here for very long.
Well, Q, this may possibly be a positive. It's a good thing we figured it out before the season is completely over. And we were able to correct this issue. So let's say tonight the Pels go out and they just light it up, man. BI plays awesome. Everybody plays awesome. Now, moving into the playoffs when we have home games, we know what we need to do. We need to have shoot-arounds at the facility that we actually going to play in, you know, like we do on the road. So maybe this is one of those things, it's pretty simple, but maybe this is something that could kind of, I guess, turn things around, man, giving them a little bit more familiarity. You know what I'm trying to say. Can't pronounce it right now.
Familiarity. I got you.
There you go. With the arena, man, getting some shots up, getting guys more comfortable, because they do seem very jittery at times at home, especially playing from behind. They really can't get calmed down. It takes them a while after having a bad quarter or so. So maybe this is something that could turn the tide, man. But this is very disheartening to know that this didn't happen all season. And at least to me, this seems like this could be a piece of the component of why we haven't played well at home. So go Pels, man. Looking forward to getting the dub tonight, especially after we had our shoot around.
Okay, there it is. Yeah, we got the shoot around the building. For most people, that's not a big thing, but for the Pelicans stinking at home, for them to go and practice in the building, like DC said, that's a big thing, man. Hopefully it leads to a promising win tonight so we can eventually get back on the right side of things, get in the playoffs and make it pop. It's either win or go home tonight, man. Pelicans, man, tonight. We'll be back here later on, fam. We'll have the live game, a live scoreboard that'll be up at game time, and the PPR final to recap the Pels game after the matchup. We'll have press conferences from Willie Green and others. Shout out to Lexa. She'll be joining us tonight. Me and DC will be in the building. So for all the rest of the flock, man, appreciate y'all for being in this thing. Y'all hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and also feel free to share the show social media on shows links on your social media feed. And on Twitter, kind of give us a retweet as well. With that being said, we'll holler at y'all later on in the show, in the day, actually. Much love and go Pels.
Subscribe now and stay up to date for all things New Orleans Pelicans.